Boys and girls, welcome to Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We appreciate each and every one of you that are here with us tonight. I'm going to wait to continue this broadcast until we get some people here in the chat. I don't want to start this broadcast without people in the chat because I want to know that all of the information we have for you tonight is valid and it's getting out. Our messages are very much emergency preparedness oriented. I have a lot of information here for you tonight. Demon Catman is the first to make it into the chat tonight. Thank you for being here, Demon Catman. We appreciate it. DCM is one of our best friends and one of our mods here, and we love him very much. We have Tammy Steffi here with us. We have Sleeping Volcano. Richard Smith, Adventuring Mike is here. Hurricane Heather is here. Welcome, guys. We appreciate each and every one of you. Richard Smith just gave us a 5x5. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it, brother. I was hoping to have a lot more people here. We'll get those people here very shortly. I am bored here. It says, hello, can I be a mod? Send me an email with your telephone number and I'll call you and talk to you. Okay? Yes, I'm looking for more mods, but I would like to screen my mods for specific reasons. Please send me an email to our email address, rltnspdema@gmail.com. One of our mods will put that email address up for us, but that's how to get hold of us to send us information. We appreciate all of you being here. My buddy Al Sanchez is here. Thank you so much for being here, Al. Folks, I've got some things to talk to you about that are very important. The first thing I want to talk to you tonight about is a drug bust off the San Diego coast. This is a drug bust off the San Diego coast. It's a big one, guys. It's a very big drug bust off the San Diego coast. Now, when I was in San Diego, approximately 1994, 1995, we had a major drug bust then. That was off the coast. The Coast Guard made the drug bust, but they invited us to be with them. They invited a lot of law enforcement to go out to this ship that they were monitoring off the coast of California. That ship off the coast of California was trying to come into San Diego area to drop off a lot of drugs. In this case, guys, it was a lot of drugs. It was approximately 33,768 pounds of cocaine. Okay, I want to show you this. This is what it looks like. Okay? This is a drug bust of cocaine, a massive drug bust off the coast of San Diego today. The Coast Guard did this. Okay? Actually, it was yesterday. The Coast Guard was monitoring this ship. They contacted Department of Defense Police, Naval Station, San Diego. They contacted other federal agents from the DEA, the ATF, and other agencies to take them out to sea as well to go to this ship that they were trying to seize. Now, when they got there, they had to be very careful once they got to the ship. They had to be very careful because the ship was so laden down with drugs, it was just barely able to float. Okay? Just like the one that I was involved with back in the 90s, this drug bust was very dangerous. Putting our Coast Guard members on board this ship could have caused it to capsize. It did not. The Coast Guard members were heavily armed. They went aboard the boat. They brought the people that were manning the boat over to the Coast Guard cutter, where the Department of Defense Police and ATF members, along with DEA, took these men into custody. Then they hooked the ship up to a Coast Guard cutter and literally drug it over to Naval Station San Diego, just like we had done back in the 90s. They drug it over there where they were able to offload the cocaine. I believe they're still offloading the cocaine right now, probably as we speak. They have to go over into the cargo hold of the ship in hazmat suits. They have to go into the cargo hold of the ship in hazmat suits because the cocaine dust in the air is so thick that anybody that would breathe it would become intoxicated and possibly die as a result of inhaling the cocaine dust. So they had to go into hazmat suits and breathing apparatus to go in there to seize that cocaine and transfer it over to the pier at Naval Station San Diego, and it was offloaded from the pier onto trucks to transport it to what they say is an unknown location. Now, I cannot verify exactly where that location is. I know where it is. I've been there. Okay? But it is an undisclosed location, so nobody raids it to try to seize any of the drugs that the drug agents have stored there. They store the cocaine and the other drugs there, and they take it away to disposal from that warehouse. But that's what they do, okay? But I want to show you this because it's happened several times after I was involved last in the 90s. Okay, this happens all the time. The Coast Guard cutter people are awesome. Okay? The Coast Guard people are awesome. In this case, it was the men and women on board Coast Guard cutter Monroe, MUNRO. Okay, these guys are awesome. They're very well trained. They're highly trained. Okay? But I wanted to show you this. I think it's very important that we talk about it. Okay? Catherine Sigerson is asking, what do they do with it? They bring the ship into the United States to the Navy port, and they offload it onto a pier. Then they take it to a warehouse where they store it until they have the wherewithal to go and destroy it. That's how they handle it. Okay? That's exactly how they handle it. Now, the next story I want to talk about is over in Iceland. Okay? There is a new eruption. Excuse me. There is a new eruption over in Iceland today. Since November 4th last year, Iceland has been erupting on and off for a long time, almost once a month. The last eruption ended on May 6th this month. May 6th. Now it's erupting again. Okay? It's a long fissure eruption, just like the last few eruptions that have done. Okay? It's not just one volcano. Or one volcano crater. It's a 3.5 kilometer long crater. 3.5 kilometer long fissure. Now, where do you see my cursor here? This eruptive fissure here is erupting up to 30 meters high. 30 meters high. 100 feet to 110 feet high. That's how high it's erupting. Look at the top of it. The top of it is almost black here. What is happening is that hot molten lava here is being thrown up into the air. When it reaches the top part of the atmosphere here, right before it was to go back down into the crater, it solidifies. Okay? It hardens. That's why it's black up here. In this case, this molten lava is going now over a bed of lava that got erupted earlier this month. Okay, see this bed here? This full bed of lava here? It's not over. This new lava is erupting over the first lava bed. Okay? That's what's happening. But there's a bigger problem. There's a way bigger problem. I want to show you this. This is what it looks like from the sky. There is a gentleman from the Icelandic Met office, the meteorological office over there in Reykjavik, and they have a drone that they put up. This is what that fissure eruption looks like. Okay? It's huge. All of this gas here, the SO2 and CO2, the sulfur dioxide and the carbon dioxide is being put up into the atmosphere. Okay? It's got to go somewhere, right? Well, guess what? With this erupting and the lava pouring out onto the previously erupted lava field here, it's putting out gas, isn't it? It's outgassing. Now this toxic gases that are actually just flowing out of that fissure is going up into the atmosphere. The Met Office, as well as the government of Iceland, have evacuated the area of they've evacuated the area of the Blue Lagoon, and they've evacuated the power plant here, right here to the left-hand side. This is the power plant. They have evacuated the power plant, they've evacuated the Blue Lagoon, and they've also evacuated Greenvik here. They've evacuated Greenvik. Now there are some businesses here in Greenvik that are still operational. The pier here, the fishing pier, the processing facility here at the pier that processes the fish that are caught here offshore. The processing plant is still open, and several other of the businesses in this area are still open. But the rest of the community has been evacuated. Now, I want to show you this because there's another reason we have for showing you this. There is another problem. We have had earthquakes out here where this new eruption happened. This new eruption happened over near Harbjorn. Okay? Mount Purebjorn is here, which is a volcano. Harbjorn is over here. It's also a volcano. But where this is erupting is over in the flatland between volcanoes. There's another volcano over here, and Harbjorn is over here. Now, what is going on here? This is the eruptive fissure here. Okay? They have had earthquakes here, and it resulted in the eruption. Now, why am I showing you this? We told you that the Svartsengi power plant area has been moving up. The Met Office, as well as the USGS, that's been helping monitoring this situation here in Iceland, have placed GPS meters here that tell us how this ground here around the Svartsengi power plant has been rising up. There's a huge magma reservoir down beneath the Svartsengi power plant. This reservoir has been rising up, lifting up. As more and more magma has been pouring into this reservoir, the power plant has been rising up. Okay? There are graphs showing the rise. Okay? That's one of the other reasons that this power plant had been evacuated. We were having earthquakes here as well. Earthquakes here in Greenvik. Earthquakes here in Greenvik. Now, this new eruption that we're having is pouring more lava over the previous eruption from the January 2023 eruption and the May 6th eruption that ended. Okay, it ended on May 6th. But this new fissure has opened up and it's pouring more lava out on this lava field. Over here in Greenvik, we've actually had a lot of earthquakes over here. The strongest earthquake was a 4.3 moderate earthquake. A 4.3 moderate earthquake. We've had tremors and we've had minor and small earthquakes here in Grindavik as well. Scientists are now wondering why we're having so many earthquakes here in Grindavik. They're believing that what is going on is the magma from this magma reservoir over at Svartsengi has been moving out over different areas, and it hasn't been able to erupt until now. One of the areas that the magma may be moving into is underneath Grindavik. Okay? The magma channel that had been erupting in January and back in May, where it stopped, the magma channel that the magma had been following, they believe, has been sealed up. The magma hardened underneath the ground. So the magma that's under Svartsengi power plant in that reservoir has had to find a new place to erupt to. So it's been causing earthquakes. Okay? The magma reservoir has been pouring magma out. That magma has had to find another place to go. Now it's erupted here. But scientists believe that the magma has also gone underneath Grindavik, causing all those earthquakes. It is still not knowing exactly what is going on underneath Grindavik. We have a feeling that some of the earthquakes that have caused or been had over in Grindavik are a result of the Mid-Atlantic Fault. They know that. They know for a fact that the Mid-Atlantic Fault is expanding Iceland. So part of the earthquakes may be due to that Mid-Atlantic Fault. But because of the pressure that the Svartsengi power plant reservoir has had, that magma from the reservoir may be trying to open up new pathways over here in Grindavik. That's why this is so important to understand. Also, on the outside of Grindavik, during the last eruption, we told you that they had been building a huge, or adding to a huge earthen defense wall. They have been adding another wall. Now they have two earthen walls going. The second wall is nearly 80 feet high as well. That way they're trying to protect the property over in Grindavik. So now they have two defensive walls. One over here on the eastern side of Grindavik and another one over here on the western side of Grindavik. The earthen walls are completely surrounding Grindavik now. Two of them. That way, Grindavik will be protected. They have a wall around the power plant here. They have a wall around the Blue Lagoon over here as well. That way, those places are protected as well. What happened here at the Blue Lagoon? They had 800 people staying in the hotel at the Blue Lagoon. 800 people. Those 800 people had to be evacuated. They had one bus driver at the hotel at the Blue Lagoon that was there stationed for exactly this purpose of evacuating people. But naturally, that bus could not contain 800 people. This time they had plenty of warning that this was going to happen. So they were able to use that bus and get a couple others called over to the Blue Lagoon to help transport over 800 people from the Blue Lagoon. So now the Blue Lagoon has been evacuated. The Svartsengi power plant people have also been evacuated. Now the interesting thing about the Svartsengi power plant, they've now installed remote activation, meaning the power plant can be operated from a remote location. So the power plant operators do not have to be here 24/7 like they were before. They can operate the plant remotely. So the Blue Lagoon has been evacuated, The power plant has been evacuated, and for the most part, everyone here in Greenvik has been also evacuated. Like I said, the only people left are here in the fish processing power plant, or fish processing facility, and some other businesses here. They are the only people left here in Greenvik. Now, do they know what's going to happen? No. They absolutely do not. They don't know whether the fissure that's opened up now, that's pouring lava outside of this fissure over an already heavy volcanic field. Okay? They don't know whether this lava is going to go down here past the highway here. Okay? We told you there's a highway down here. It did not pass the highway last time. They don't know whether this magma or this lava here will pass that highway here. They hope it will stop just like the previous lava stopped. They hope they can continue to protect Greenvik. The lava will definitely flow over here towards the power plant as well, just like it did before. But like I said, they have earthen defense walls around this whole area of the Blue Lagoon and the power plant. So they believe it's completely protected, as well as Greenvik. Now, do you have any questions for me in regards to what's going on here in Iceland? Richard Smith says heat melts magma chambers open that are closed or rupture any weak points. To a certain extent, that's true. But apparently, the underground radar that they have has shown that the lava or the magma down beneath the ground here has solidified. The lava has solidified and has blocked the area where we had previously had eruptions. So this is a new area. This is a completely new eruption. Demon Catman says it feels like Groundhog Day more and more. I agree. I totally agree with that idea. Okay? It's wild. It's totally wild. Yes, we've had earthquakes here. USGS has not been reporting them. They're still not reporting them. USGS is still not reporting this new eruption. Sad day. Okay? But I wanted to get this information out to you. I've been in contact with the Met Office. I have a friend of mine over in Greenvik that's been reporting stuff to us. I have a friend from Idaho State University that's visiting Greenvik. They'll be visiting Iceland. They'll be leaving Iceland tomorrow morning. His name's Sean Willits. He's a good friend. He's a professor at Idaho State University Geology Department. But he's there. I have a couple other friends over in Iceland that have been feeding me information. But I definitely wanted to show you this because this is brand new. It just happened earlier today. Just about, I believe, 6:30 this morning Eastern time today. It's unreal. Okay? Ruth St. John says, maybe we are all in an episode of The Twilight Zone and we can't get out. That's a good idea. Okay? That's probably more true than we want to admit to. It's crazy, guys. I woke up to this morning. I got a telephone call and I immediately got up and started monitoring what was going on. Sandra Nordine is asking, where is this? This is over in the Reykjanes Peninsula in southern Iceland. Okay, this is over in southern Iceland. This town you see here again is Greenvik, Iceland. Okay? I've reported about Greenvik in the past months. Well, actually, it's already 5 months into 2024, and this happened last November. And so we've been monitoring this for 7-8 months now. Okay? A lot of eruptions over here. Absolutely. We had an eruption in November. We had another one in December. We had another one in January. February, March was 2 eruptions. April came by, we had another eruption, and the end of April, well, actually the middle of April, it erupted again, and that eruption finally stopped on May 6th. Now we have another eruption. Okay? It's wild. Rebecca's here saying she saw it and did a video this morning. It shocked her because not so many earthquakes being reported. No, there haven't been. If it wasn't for my monitoring and keeping eye on the Met Office, the meteorological office that does the reporting on these earthquakes and the eruptions, I would not have known about it. Because the United States Geological Survey, that is allegedly the preeminent, the best geological agency in the world, is not talking about any of it. They have not been reporting anything. Okay? Catherine Sigerson says, which Icelandic volcano was part of reason for the worst year in history, 536 AD? It was the volcano down in the southern part of the Reykjanes Peninsula, way down near the southern tip, I believe. Okay? And yes, even the Icelandic site is not showing many earthquakes. They had 45 earthquakes prior to this present eruption. A lot of those earthquakes were over here in Grindavik. A lot of those earthquakes were here in Grindavik. And they still believe that magma coming from the magma reservoir underneath the power plant may have also come down here. They're not sure of it. They have to do an overflight of the satellites, the ground penetrating radar satellites, to see exactly what's going on here in Grindavik. They have been looking at this area here because this area has previously erupted. They've been looking at it. But now, since these earthquakes have started up again here in Grindavik, now they're going to be looking at Grindavik very hard. Do any of you have any more questions about this? David from Florida is here. Welcome, Dave. We appreciate you being here. We really appreciate all of you for being here. It makes my heart go pitter-patter. If any of you would like, I would also ask you to give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up, because that is one way that YouTube will know that what we're talking about is important. And they will have a better idea, hey, we better show what Emergency Management Associates has, because people are watching it now and they want to know more. So please give us a thumbs up. Also, please do not leave after 2 or 3 minutes or 5, 10 or 15 minutes or even 20 minutes. Please stay here throughout our broadcast. We have a lot more important information to share with you. If you're only here for the first few minutes of our broadcast, it absolutely does you no good. We talk about emergency preparedness for a reason. We talk about emergency preparedness for a reason because things like this are going to happen here. Things are going to happen here and over in the United States, over in Canada, over in Scandinavia, over in England, over in Germany, Switzerland, France, Germany, Austria area. It's going to happen everywhere. These are not the only places that we're having issues with earthquakes and other things. The other day, France had 25 earthquakes. The country of France had 25 earthquakes hit, literally all over the country. Switzerland and Germany also had earthquakes. Spain had earthquakes. Croatia, Romania, they all had earthquakes. Greece had 52 earthquakes the other day, and I believe right now it's ranging about 40 earthquakes here today, over in Greece today. These kinds of things are going to happen everywhere. Speaking of that, over near Naples, Italy, we have what they have determined is a supervolcano. Over at Filigree Campi, okay, that volcano is supposedly a supervolcano. They've also, the town fathers and the community have already put together their own evacuation plan. Some people have already evacuated from the town because that's how serious they take it. Now, what is also happening there? Over in southern Italy, we have two volcanoes that have been erupting almost constantly for several years now. Stromboli volcano and Mount Etna have also been erupting and are continuing to erupt to any kind of extent. Okay? Now they're evacuating parts of Naples. Okay? It's ongoing. These volcanoes can happen anywhere. They can happen anywhere. I wanted to bring this to you because a lot of people are now worried. And they have a right to be. They absolutely have a right to be worried, concerned for their very safety. We're talking about it because this is an emergency preparedness channel. We talk about emergencies, we talk about disasters of all kinds. Now, again, let's go over here to a map. I want to show you this. This is pretty important here. Okay, this is the map. The lava plume that is erupting has now reached 3.5 kilometers long. Look at this. 3.5 kilometers long. Lava is now pouring out of the fissure out onto a previously erupted lava field. Okay, that's where it's headed. We're monitoring this every day. I've spent a great deal of time today, probably 6 hours, looking at what's going on. I wanted to make sure we knew what was happening. I spoke to Professor Thorvaldsen over at Reykjavik University. I spoke to quite a few people. This is important. This is very important. Okay? Again, Grindavik, they're very worried about it. This is the area where they've had earthquakes. These red blots here are the earthquakes they've had today. These are the earthquakes they've had today. That's how serious this whole thing is. Okay? Like I said, the Met Office, the Meteorological Society office, is saying the magma is still forming a dike towards Grindavik. It's forming a dike. A dike is an underground tunnel where the magma is trying to force its way through rock to try to get to a place where it can push up to the ground level and erupt. That's what they believe it's doing. The magma underneath the Svartsengi power plant out here, the magma here at the reservoir is punching out a dike, a magma tunnel here, over towards Grindavik. They will have more information probably within the next couple days after they get the ground penetrating radar satellite in position to analyze what's going on. Okay? That's how serious it is. Okay? Do any of you have any questions about anything we've talked about? This is serious. Okay? Something else that might interest you. Okay? For about a week now, we've had earthquakes occurring on the Baja California side of Mexico. This is just a small portion of them. Okay? There are upwards of 60 to 70 earthquakes happening in the Baja California area every day. In the central Baja California every day. These earthquakes are all lining up in a certain direction. Left to right or right to left here. This is only a small amount of them. Okay, I can show you 2 or 3 more pictures that I have showing these earthquakes, but a total of about 60 to 70 earthquakes are hitting Baja California today and every day. Now, the last time we've seen this was in the border area between the United States and Mexico and Texas. We've also seen it over in Spain. We've also seen it over near Vancouver Island in Canada. What is happening? We believe what is going on is underground. Beneath the ground here, we have underground military bases. Deep underground military bases. What they're doing, they're destroying the underground military bases. Each and every one of these earthquakes are approximately 1.5 tremor to upwards of a 2.8. A 1.5 tremor upwards to a 2.8 minor earthquake. Each and every one of these. We believe they're destroying deep underground military bases, DUMBs, DUMBS. I want to show you this for about a week now. The other day when it first happened, I wanted to show it to you, but I wanted to verify what is going on. And now I have verification of it. Deep underground military bases over here in Baja California are being destroyed. Okay? Richard Smith says May 21st. They've been ongoing. Does anybody have any questions about this? I think this is very important as well. I have verified it. I don't put out any information I can't verify. DCM says deep underground military bankruptcy, pretty much. To have these kind of earthquakes, guys, dynamite or C4, whatever they're using to blow up these underground military facilities, it costs money. And it's very expensive. Okay? It's cost money and it takes time and effort to do this. Sandra's asking, why are they destroying these underground military bases? I'll tell you one reason, one big reason. They have been using these for nefarious purposes for the New World Order. They've been using these DUMBs for nefarious purposes, and now they're trying to eliminate these because they've also been putting people through these to infiltrate the United States. Trafficking. Hurricane Heather's also saying trafficking, absolutely. Okay? And yes, there's also magma down here as well. Okay, I've been reporting on that as well. There has been magma underneath the ground here in the Baja California area, and it's very evident. Anywhere where we have almost complete circles over in Baja California, raised up ground, where the magma didn't break the surface, where it was lava and put out lava, it raised up the surface in a circular pattern, just like you're seeing right here. Okay? Magma is raised up the surface, but did not penetrate the ground. Okay? And no, I don't believe, Linda, that it is Elon Musk. I don't believe it has anything to do with Elon Musk at all. Okay? Richard Smith has been reporting earthquakes around the world here tonight for us in the chat, and another 4.8 earthquake over in Taiwan. That's not going to stop. We had an 8.4 earthquake over in Taiwan about what has it been, 3 months ago, something like that. It's not going to stop. It's not going to stop, guys. It's not going to stop at all. Now, I'm going over here to the map. Okay? Yes, we've had another earthquake, I believe, over in Vanuatu just a few minutes ago. But this area around Taiwan has been having earthquakes for about 3 months now. The largest was an 8.4 earthquake. An 8.4 earthquake. Now we're having aftershocks, and this is not the only earthquake that has hit over here in Taiwan. Right here, this was a 4.0 from last night. Since last night, there have been 3 other earthquakes hitting here in Taiwan. Aftershocks of the 8.4 earthquake from 3 months ago. It's going to continue to hit. When we have such a large earthquake as we had, and it was a major earthquake, an 8.4 earthquake is a major earthquake. When we have earthquakes of that size, there are going to be aftershocks for years. For years. We've seen it happening literally around the globe every time we've had one of these major earthquakes. It's happened over and over and over again. Okay? It's happening. Okay? Now, I'm going to go back over here to the South Pacific with this large earthquake here. Again, this is Vanuatu. This is Vanuatu. This is a 5.2 magnitude earthquake. Okay? This is out in the Pacific Ocean. This was 123 kilometers west-northwest of Sola, Vanuatu. This was a large earthquake. These large earthquakes that are happening in the Pacific Ocean are absorbing the shock waves from that earthquake and not letting that earthquake shock waves hit land. And that's a good thing. That is a very good thing. If those shock waves hit land, there would be some kind of destruction. People might get hurt. People might get killed. This is offshore from Sola, Vanuatu. This is also 35 kilometers deep. This is a very shallow quake. A very shallow quake. Down here in the Loyalty Islands down here, we have had earthquakes here as well. Large earthquakes, 5.2, 5.4, 5.8, and 5.9 during the past year. We're going to see those earthquakes here again. Why? Why? Look at these fault lines. Look at these fault lines in the Pacific Ocean. That's why. There's a fault line right here. There's a fault line right here. There's another fault line right here. This fault line here goes over here to Fiji. We have an earthquake here in Tonga. This is a 4.6 earthquake, 237 kilometers northwest of Houma, Tonga. H-O-U-M-A, Tonga. Now, I believe Houma, Tonga is way down here. If they will even allow me to show it, yes, they do. Houma, Tonga is here. There are people living here. They did not feel that earthquake. This is only a 4.6 moderate earthquake out in the middle of the Pacific. Okay? 237 kilometers from Houma, Tonga. Green D Lady just gave us a $10 super chat. Thank you for that. We appreciate that so much. God bless you for that. That means the world to me. Thank you so much. You're helping to support this channel. You're helping us keep on the air. Yes, Poland, if you do make such a statement, you will be banned from this channel. Promise you. He just got banned from the channel. No, I don't take a liking to people that even talk like that. That is so wrong. Whether they make a racial slur against myself or anybody else, I don't tolerate it. I won't do it. Richard Smith is talking about a new earthquake over in Santa Monica, California. During the past few days, we've been showing you earthquakes all over Southern California. They're continuing to happen. As I have reported to you, these earthquakes in Southern California are leading up to a large earthquake. You can put your money on that. You can take it to the bank. It's out in Santa Monica Bay, Richard says, but that doesn't matter. Okay? Over in Santa Monica Bay, guys, we have the Newport Inglewood Fault. We are going to get a larger earthquake over in Los Angeles. It's very apparent. We're getting minor earthquakes, we're getting small earthquakes, and we're getting moderate earthquakes. Minor, small, and moderate earthquakes in Los Angeles area and over in San Diego and also over in the Imperial Valley of Southern California, east of San Diego County. These earthquakes are serious. They are leading up to a very large or major earthquake coming into Southern California, probably sometime this summer. Okay? It's going to happen. I promise it's going to happen. It keeps happening. Okay? Now, we've also had a large earthquake over here in Myanmar. Right here. This was a 5.4 earthquake near My Lake, Myanmar, which is a country that's formerly called Burma. Formerly called Burma. This is the largest earthquake we've had here in years, literally. Why did we have this 5.4 here in Myanmar today? Why? Because, folks, this whole area here is the world's largest subduction zone. 7 different tectonic plates are moving here. The subduction zone goes over here to Burma, India area, Vietnam, Cambodia, this whole area. It goes all the way down here, over into the Philippines, Indonesia, Australia, the Solomon Islands here, Vanuatu, over here in the Fiji and Tonga, and all the way down here into New Zealand. This is the world's largest subduction zone. Why is it subducting? Because there's 7 different tectonic plates, each one moving underneath the other. A couple years ago, I received an email from a woman in Indonesia asking me why they were getting hit. The simple answer is all those tectonic plates are moving underneath each and every one of us. Okay? Moving underneath each and every one of those areas. Now, I want to show you how that happens, just so you know. Those tectonic plates are subducting under the other plate, just like this. Every time we have a solar flare, every time we have a CME that's large solar flare, anywhere from a C all the way up to an X-class flare. And by the way, we've had several X-class flares this week. Each of those solar flares are dangerous flares. Those contain plasma radiation coming out of the sun. The biggest was yesterday. I showed you that on the program yesterday. I showed you the picture from the Solar Dynamic Observatory that's 1 million miles away from the sun. Imagine that. But the Solar Dynamic Observatory showed us that solar flare coming off the east side of the sun. It was a huge flare, launching a large amount of plasma radiation out into space. Now, the scientists are still wondering if the plasma radiation is going to make a sideways blow to the Earth. it may make a glancing blow off the side of the Earth. It's unknown how much of an effect it's going to have on the Earth. But the plasma radiation that's launched from the sun, whether it's a direct Earth-facing sunspot, it doesn't really matter. Plasma radiation is launching out from the sun, whether it goes out to the north, out to the south, or out to the west or the east. Plasma radiation is causing these earthquakes to happen. Why? The plasma radiation reaches the Earth's magnetosphere. The Earth's magnetosphere is very weak right now because last year we were coming off of a solar minimum. Now we are in a solar maximum. The solar cycles last 11 years. The solar maximum, since we've had the solar maximum going, we've had some very large, dangerous solar flares. We had one solar flare last week that was launched off the edge of the sun, as we're looking at here, the eastern edge of the sun. That solar flare, guys, was an X-class 12. That solar flare was an X-class 12. That's very serious. That's hugely serious. Okay? Now, it didn't hit the sun at all, or it didn't hit the Earth, but it was launched out to the east, out into space. It will have no impact on us. But if it had been a sunspot facing Earth, it would have caused untold damage. Solar flares have a lot of effect on the Earth. They cause the plates to heat up. They cause the tectonic plates to heat up. They cause the core of the Earth to heat up as well. The radiation hits the tectonic plates. It hits down into the core of the Earth. What does it do when it hits the plates? It warms up the plates, doesn't it? All the gunk and grime, the rock, the sand, the debris, the biological garbage that sits down there holding the plates into place, it heats all that junk up. When it heats that junk up, the plates more freely move. It heats that stuff up and it turns into an oily, greasy type substance. When that happens, it makes the plates more easily move, causing earthquakes. That's what's happening. Kimberly Hopkins just gave us another $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Kimberly. God bless you for that. We really, really appreciate it. That means the world to us. All of you that keep giving us super chats, and those people that contribute to our PayPal and our Cash App, we greatly appreciate it. Those people that send us cards and letters and stick some donations between the cards and the letters, it's greatly appreciated. Our P.O. Box. We have a P.O. Box here in Morganton now. It's no longer in Valdez. We have a P.O. Box. The address there is 105 North Green Street, Box 105. 104 North Green Street, Box 105. Morganton, Morganton, North Carolina. The zip code here is 28655. We greatly appreciate any and all cards and letters and donations that you guys send us. We have not had a card or letter here in the past 2 weeks. There was a point in time when I first came on the air, well, from the time I came on the air back 5+ years ago, there was a point in time we were getting 2 to 3 cards every week, or letters. I love cards and letters. So if you find it in your heart to send us a card or letter, and if you also find it in your heart to donate to our program through the post office, we greatly appreciate it. It means the world to us. I love seeing cards and letters telling me how you're doing and how you like our program and things that you'd like to see. That's what I've done. I've tried to make sure we give you the information that you want to see. Okay? It's a great thing. Okay? That's what we do. Like I said, we also have PayPal, 2 PayPal locations, and right after I get off the air, in our program description, you're not seeing a program description right now, but right after we get off the air within the first 10 minutes, you will see a program description. It'll have our email address, it'll have our post office box address, it'll have our PayPal and our Cash App locations where you can send us donations. We greatly appreciate that. It means the world to us. It helps us pay the bills to keep this program on the air. So thank you all for your donations. It means the world. It really does. Anyway, getting back to what we've been talking about, okay? Earthquakes are happening literally all around the world. All around the world. They're not going to stop. They are literally not going to stop. Down in the South Pacific, okay? We showed you this a minute ago. Let's go back here to my Earth map, our Google map here. Let's go back to our Google map. I can show you this right here. Okay, all earthquakes originate from over here in the South Pacific, right over here. There's a deep magma plume down here in the South Pacific. This magma plume comes up through the crust, supplying magma to all the volcanoes all around the world. Also, every earthquake that hits here originates, every earthquake that hits anywhere around the world originates from down here in the South Pacific. That's why we get so many earthquakes here. Then those earthquakes literally go around the world. All those earthquakes go around the world. Now, I've shown you the large earthquakes hitting the earth today. This other earthquake here in Kunga, China. This is a moderate 4.1. Okay, again, USGS is not going to show us all the earthquakes. They never do. USGS says there's 187 earthquakes on their world map. They're full of crap. I don't believe any of these earthquakes add up to 187 earthquakes. And I can show you where USGS is not showing earthquakes. For example, down here in New Zealand, there are 28 earthquakes here in New Zealand that they are not talking about. 2 earthquakes, 2 minor earthquakes over here in Australia that they're not talking about. Over here in Tajikistan and Afghanistan, there are several 4.0, 4.3 earthquakes here. They're not talking about. Why not? Why not? Inquiring minds want to know. Over here, this is eastern Turkey. Eastern Turkey-Syria border here. There's 60 earthquakes today right here. Why? Because last January, a year ago January, it wasn't last January, it was a year ago January, this border region of Syria and Turkey had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. USGS tried to say it was only a 7.4. I showed you data last year showing it was at least a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake. There were thousands of earthquakes up and down this entire area here. USGS didn't even show all the earthquakes. There were foreshocks and aftershocks in this area. They didn't even show all the earthquakes. 5,000 plus people died. 5,000 people lost their lives here. Over 5,000 people were injured here. And every time they have an earthquake here, people start getting worried that the big one is going to come back. I don't think we're going to have another very large earthquake here for some time. I might be wrong, but I don't think we're going to have another major earthquake here in a while. Okay? But right now, we have anywhere between 50 to 60 earthquakes here every day. Some of them ranging between a 1.5 tremor all the way up to a 4.5, 5.0 earthquake every day right here. Earthquakes all over Turkey. Today we have about 20 earthquakes here in northern Turkey. We have 20 plus earthquakes right here on the western side of Turkey. Every day. But it's not just that. Off the coast of western Turkey, see all these islands here? These islands are called the Volcanic Islands. They all belong to Greece. There are earthquakes all over this area as well. We have an earthquake out here in the Mediterranean. We have earthquakes just north and south of Greece here. We have about 50 earthquakes here in mainland Greece here. Why are they not showing them? Inquiring minds want to know. Now, Algeria here. We have earthquakes up here all the time. Earthquakes here in Romania. Why are they not showing those? Earthquakes here in Croatia. Why are they not showing those? This earthquake here over in Torretta, Italy. It's a moderate 4.2 earthquake. This earthquake happened just after 8 a.m. this morning. Okay? Just over here off the southern coast of Italy. A moderate earthquake. Why? Let me take you back to the Turkey-Syria border region. See this earthquake fault? It continues all the way up here. It goes all the way up here into the Black Sea. This earthquake fault is still generating earthquakes that USGS isn't talking about. This past week we had 2 earthquakes down here in Cyprus. This earthquake fault is generating earthquakes all the way over here in Italy. All the time. Or not Italy, Greece. Okay? But the seismic energy doesn't stay in Greece either. It continues up here to Italy. That's why we're getting hit in Italy. Here in central Italy, this area is getting pelted with earthquakes. 20 to 50 earthquakes here every day. Why is USGS not showing them? Inquiring minds want to know. Most of these earthquakes are 1.2 to 1.9 earthquakes. Some of them are 2.0 to 3.0 earthquakes. But 20 to 50 earthquakes here every day. And earthquakes down here in southern Italy, earthquakes over here in northern Italy, earthquakes over here into the resort area of northwestern Italy here. We get earthquakes up here into the Alps, the Swiss and French Alps here. Why is USGS not showing those? Earthquakes here in Switzerland and Germany. Why are they not showing those? Every day lately, we've had anywhere from 5 to 20 earthquakes here in France. Why are they not showing those? I can't wait till the Olympics starts, and when we have the Olympics, I'm going to be very interested to see if they have an earthquake here in France and the newscasters are talking about the Olympics and the ground starts shaking. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very, very interesting. Hurricane Heather says she finally got her day off. She's happy. Hurricane Heather, we love you, girl. We love you. You're a great lady. You're a great mod. You're a great weather lady as well. We love your work. Okay? I'm glad you got a day off. That's wonderful. Anyway, we have earthquakes here in France. Down here at the border of France and Spain, we typically have 1 to 4 earthquakes down here, which we have. We have several earthquakes down here in southern Spain. Now, I spoke of the deep underground military bases. About a year and a half ago, we had deep underground military bases being destroyed here under southern Spain. We had 60 or 70 earthquakes here. 1.7, 1.8, 2.0 earthquakes. Each and every one of those was a deep underground military tunnel being destroyed here in southern Spain. Unreal. Again, we have several earthquakes here in southern Spain. We have a couple earthquakes over here in northern Morocco. We have a couple earthquakes right here in the eastern med, or the western med here. Why? That same earthquake fault I told you about from over in Turkey comes over here. Okay? Comes over here. And it puts out earthquakes right here. Yes, we've had 2.5s, we have 1.5s, we've had a 5.0, actually it was a 5.1 large earthquake here just about a year ago. It's going to continue. We have earthquakes here in the Azores here, right next to Portugal and Spain. We get earthquakes here every day. Why are they not showing those? We have earthquakes happening every day over here in the Canary Islands. Why are they not showing those two earthquakes here today? Inquiring minds want to know. Not only that, over here in Norway and Sweden and Finland, we have earthquakes here. Several earthquakes here in southern Norway and southern Sweden. We also have an earthquake just north of Stockholm here. We have one earthquake over here in Finland. Why are they not showing those? Okay? USGS is not showing us squat. We have earthquakes, like I said, about 30 earthquakes over here in Iceland, around Greenavik. Why are they not showing those? USGS is inept. The management of USGS has no clue what's going on. They really don't. We don't have any earthquakes here in England or Scotland or Wales. We're lucky. Sometimes we have 1.2, 1.3, 1.4 tremors here in England. I think the largest earthquake I've seen is a 3.2, a small earthquake over here in southern England. Okay? Occasionally. It's occasionally. Again, why? Because the mid-Atlantic fault here in the Atlantic Ocean, the mid-Atlantic fault is expanding. The mid-Atlantic fault is expanding, folks. Why? It's pushing Europe in an easterly direction. Europe and Africa in an easterly direction. It's pushing the North American continent over here in a southwesterly direction. That's why we have earthquakes here. They're not showing any earthquakes here on the eastern seaboard. Why? There are plenty of earthquakes going over here into northeastern Canada. We get minor tremors and minor earthquakes here, and sometimes even a small 3.2, 3.5 earthquake over here off the eastern coast of Canada. It happens. We have more earthquakes than I want to even think about on the eastern side of the United States. It's a continental divide. The continental divide. The Eastern Continental Divide starts down here in Georgia and goes all the way up through the United States along the inboard side of the eastern continent and goes up here into Canada. Okay? It's the Eastern Continental Divide. We have earthquakes here, and I'm going to show you that in a few minutes. We have earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault I'm going to show you in a few minutes. All the time we talk about earthquakes here in southwestern Texas. These are minor tremors and minor earthquakes. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake here. This is a 1.8 minor tremor here. They happen. We have a 3.4 earthquake over here at the border area of New Mexico and Texas. They're happening all over the place. Over here in Amarillo, Texas, northwestern Texas, we have a 2.6 earthquake here. Why? Why? Well, folks, I'll tell you this right now. I wish I had my other map of the craton, the North American craton, the North American plate. The North American plate, or craton, reaches up here into northwestern Canada and Alaska. It comes all the way down here. This is the Rocky Mountains. It comes all the way down here through Canada and also comes in here to Montana, northern Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, all the way down here, over into Texas. It goes all the way over here through northern Texas, in Oklahoma here. Then it comes down here over towards the New Madrid Fault here, and then it comes directly over here to the Eastern Continental Divide. That is the North American craton, the edge of the plate. The edge of the plate. That's why we have earthquakes here. That's why we have earthquakes over here on the eastern side of the country. Now, we have earthquakes here for a different reason. Seismic energy coming from southern Mexico down here is making its way up here into Southern California. This earthquake down here is on the San Andreas Fault off the coast of southern Mexico. This is a 4.3 earthquake, a moderate earthquake. This energy is also going to come up the San Andreas Fault here, through the Gulf of California into northern Mexico, and in here to San Diego and Los Angeles. We also have energy coming from Alaska, coming from up here in Alaska. We have energy that's coming from Indonesia here, going up and going through the faults here, and up here through Taiwan, over here to Japan, coming up through Indonesia, through the Philippines, through the Mariana Trench here, Guam in this area here, the Mariana Islands here, coming up here also to Japan, going up here into the Kuril Islands here, up into the Kamchatka Peninsula, like we showed you last week, and over here into the Aleutian Islands, making its way over here into Alaska. This energy comes from all the way over from the Kamchatka Peninsula through the Aleutian Islands here, over here down the western end of British Columbia, Canada here, all the way in here, down here into the northwestern United States. All that energy is coming down. Today, over here, just off the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. I want to show you this. It's important. This is the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. Folks, this is a 2.4 earthquake. This is a 2.4 earthquake on the Cascadia subduction zone here. The Cascadia subduction zone runs from Queen Charlotte Island, British Columbia, all the way down here to Northern California. It meets up with what they call the Gorda Escarpment right here. This is an earthquake fault that runs out into the Pacific, about 230 miles out into the Pacific Ocean. The Cascadia subduction zone intersects with the Gorda Escarpment and the San Andreas Fault. This is the beginning of the San Andreas Fault over here in Northern California. So we had a 2.4 earthquake over here off the Cascadia subduction zone. This is about 61 kilometers west of Ferndale, California, over here to the east, Ferndale, California. This earthquake here is in Petrolia, California. This is also a 2.0 earthquake here. This is on the Mendocino Ridge. The Gorda Escarpment is here. When it comes over here onto land, it turns into the Mendocino Ridge out here into Northern California. The Mendocino Ridge has earthquakes and always has. Okay? The Mendocino Ridge, the San Andreas Fault, the Gorda Escarpment, and the Cascadia subduction zone. We've had major earthquakes over here just off the coast of California here. A 7.4 earthquake about a year and a half ago. Okay? We honestly thought that earthquake was going to set off the San Andreas Fault, or set off the San Andreas Fault, but also could possibly help set off the Cascadia. It did not do that, fortunately. Okay? Over here in California, Rancho Tehama Reserve. Okay, this is still Central California, a 3.1 earthquake here. down here to the southwest. This is Willits, California. We are constantly having earthquakes here, almost every day. Today, this is a 2.4 earthquake. Okay, 2.4 earthquake. Further south, okay, this is a 1.9 tremor, 1.9, 2.0 earthquake over here in the geysers. This is Sonoma County, California. Usually USGS will show us a lot of earthquakes here. Why are they not showing us all the earthquakes here? Inquiring minds want to know. Why are they not showing them? There's about 30 earthquakes every day here in the geysers, California area. Why? Over here, men have drilled holes, drilled deep holes, searching for steam from this volcano right here. This is the Clear Lake volcano. Men have drilled holes from over here in the geysers area to obtain steam from this volcano right here to power turbines over here to make electricity here. The steam comes over here to the turbine areas and it generates electricity to 4 major energy here in California. Rocky Mountain Power, Pacific Gas and Electric, and 2 others in California. This is not the only earthquake here. Why USGS stopped reporting on all the earthquakes here is a good question. Inquiring minds want to know, USGS, why are you not being honest with the public? 30 earthquakes a day hit here. Why are you not being honest and allowing everybody to know why? Okay? 30 earthquakes a day. Why are they not telling us about it? They have in the past, but they're not saying one doggone word today. We have one earthquake showing up here in the geysers facility. Again, there are about 30 earthquakes here today. Okay? Now, they're not showing much of anything here in San Francisco. That's to their detriment. There are always earthquakes hitting this area. Right here, this is the Hayward Fault here. Over here, this is the Calaveras Fault. Notice where we have 2 earthquakes right here. This is Milpitas, California, right on top of the Hayward. This is a 1.4 tremor. This is also on the Hayward. Alum Rock, California, another 1.6 tremor. The Hayward comes down here. The Calaveras out here also comes down here in this area just east of Monterey Bay. What else happens? The San Andreas Fault comes out of Northern California, way up north, all the way down here. Yes, we have an earthquake down here in Boulder Creek, California. It's a 1.2 tremor on the San Andreas Fault. The San Andreas Fault comes down here, and it comes near the Hayward and the Calaveras here. What's going to happen? One of these days, there's going to be a major earthquake here on these faults. It's going to be a dangerous place to live. This whole area is going to be a very dangerous place to live. A major earthquake here on the San Andreas could set off the Hayward, or the Hayward having a major earthquake could set off the Calaveras and the San Andreas. Now, what else could happen? We talked about this before. Let's go back up here to the Cascadia subduction zone. Sorry about that. Let's go back up here into the Cascadia subduction zone. I want to show you this, okay? Right over here. The Cascadia subduction zone, like I said, goes all the way up here to Queen Charlotte Island. It comes down the coast of Canada, right past Vancouver, British Columbia, all the way down here past Washington, Oregon, and into Northern California. What's going to happen? The Cascadia subduction zone earthquake is probably going to happen up here in this area, near the Cascadia subduction zone and the Juan de Fuca plate right here. This is where we believe the Cascadia subduction zone earthquake is going to occur. It's going to set off the whole area. Yes, there's going to be a major earthquake that's going to be felt all the way up here from Seattle and Canada, all the way south down here into southern or northern Mexico, all the way down here in northern Mexico. It's going to be felt all the way up into Alaska. It's going to trigger the San Andreas Fault. It's going to trigger the San Andreas Fault right here. The San Andreas Fault is going to echo that energy all the way down here into northern Mexico. A 10.0 earthquake. A 9.0 to a 10.0 earthquake. It's going to devastate the entire west coast of North America. Fact. Fact. I've talked about this very earthquake a lot. This is the earthquake that Richard Smith told us about off the coast of Santa Monica. This is a 2.0 earthquake, Marina del Rey, California. Marina del Rey, California. This is Marina del Rey here. This is a very exclusive community here. Marina del Rey and Playa del Rey right here. Okay? We talk about earthquakes. We've shown you seismograms yesterday of this area. They have minor tremors and minor earthquakes hitting this area every day. Today, a 2.0 earthquake hit here, just off the coast. Again, they're not showing any other earthquakes here in the LA basin. None. That is a devastating situation. USGS should be reporting everything that's going on, and they're not. They're just not reporting it. Now, I know I've talked a lot about earthquakes around the world and the north part of the Cascadia subduction zone. I want to get over here into the New Madrid seismic zone right here. This is the New Madrid seismic zone reaching from down here in Louisiana all the way up here into Illinois and Indiana and over here into Ohio. The New Madrid Fault. The New Madrid Fault. I'm going to show you some earthquakes, some of the biggest earthquakes today. I'm not going to show you just minor tremors and such. I'm going to show you good-sized earthquakes. I want you to see what's actually going on. Again, the agency's not showing us anything. They're not showing us anything here on the East Coast. Why not? Stupidity. Stupidity. I believe that's the biggest reason. Plain, honest stupidity. They should not be allowed to get away with this kind of crap. And that's what it is. It's crap. Okay? Now, I want to go over here to Arkansas first. Okay? I want to show you Catfish Pond, Arkansas. Catfish Pond, Arkansas this morning. Look at this. Look at this. Up at the top, this is midnight last night. We had a few tremors early this morning, huh? Microquakes and tremors until later this morning. Just before 5 a.m. right here. Over here is 4:45 a.m. right here. We had some minor tremors right here. It continued after 5 a.m. here. Microquakes and minor tremors. Down here after 7 a.m. here. This is when the tremors got larger. We had some tremors coming in here with a 2.0 earthquake here, and then right here, this is a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake right there. Then the seismic energy dwindles out here for about a minute and a half. A secondary wave right here. They're only showing us a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake right here. We have a minute and a half of secondary wave, which means this earthquake was larger than they're showing it. This is probably a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake. Then we had more tremors out here, and we have another, at least, a 2.0, 2.3 earthquake here. Over here, the energy dwindles over here to tremors. Then we have another 2.8 earthquake here. Again, this may be larger because the seismic energy, the secondary wave goes out here for a minute. It also continues out here for nearly another minute. So this might be a 3.0, 3.2 earthquake. You can see what happens here. We have tremors out here after 8:15 on the red line here. At 8:30 on the blue line here. We come over here to about 8:43 a.m. here. Guess what? This is a 3.5 small earthquake here at Catfish Pond, Arkansas, right next to the New Madrid Fault. This is on the New Madrid Fault. A 3.0 earthquake right here. A 3.0 earthquake right there. More earthquakes here, 2.5, 2.7 earthquake there. This is a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake right here. 3.0 earthquake, 3.0 earthquake, and this down here at about 11:50 a.m. this morning. This may be a 3.0 earthquake. This earthquake here at 11:46 a.m. this morning, possibly also 3.0 earthquake. As you see, the seismic energy along the New Madrid Fault is moving. It's getting larger. 2 or 3 years ago, when you guys were asking me what's going on the New Madrid Fault, I was telling you all we were having was 1.2, 1.5, and 1.7 tremors. That's it. That's it. During the past 2 years, the seismic activity has increased and it's gotten larger. It's gotten larger. No, we have not had a large 5.0 yet. It's coming. We have had 4.0 and 4.5 earthquakes here on the New Madrid Fault. That has happened. It has happened. This is Catfish Pond, Arkansas, this afternoon. Look at this. Look at this earthquake sequence here. This is after 5:45 this evening. I pulled this seismogram here just after 6:40. I'm sorry, no, not 6:40, 5:40. I pulled it after 5:40. You can see what's happened here. I got the reports of this happening at 4:50 this afternoon. Look at this. 2 minutes of 3.0 earthquakes. 2 minutes of 3.0 small earthquakes happening. How would you like to live in an area on any of the faults and have any kind of earthquake hitting there that you can feel? 3.0 and larger earthquakes are felt earthquakes. 3.0 and larger are felt earthquakes. We had another 3.0 earthquake here just after 12, I want to say this is 12:43 this afternoon. You can see these other earthquakes here. A 3.0 earthquake over here just after 1:03 p.m. this afternoon. And then the other 3.0 sequence right here. Now, look at the top and the bottom of this sequence. I believe they cut this off. I believe they cut this earthquake sequence off. They're not even showing the true strength of these quakes. This 3.0 may have been as strong as a 3.5 earthquake. Okay? 3.5 is still small. 3.0, 3.9 are considered to be small earthquakes. This is what's happening on the New Madrid Fault. Let me show you some others that are similar to that. Let's go over here to Mark Tree, Arkansas, also on the New Madrid Fault, right next to the Mississippi River, which is the New Madrid Fault. Look at this, guys. Look at this. Yes, we had some tremors earlier today. Again, the top of this seismogram is 1 a.m. over here on the left-hand side. Look at all these tremors until just after 3:13 a.m. this morning. 3:13 a.m. it starts 2.0, then it gets to be a 2.8, 2.9, and I think right here it was a 3.0 earthquake. This entire sequence lasted 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes here. A 7-minute long earthquake, including all the tremors after the fact. How about over here? This is after 4:55 this morning. Right here we have 4:55. We have tremors building right here. Then all of a sudden we have at least a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake. Again, the tops and the bottom of this earthquake sequence are cut off. Probably a 3.5 earthquake here. Right here in the blue line. This is after 5:30. This is about 5:36, 5:37 this morning. Look what's happened here. Again, at least a 3.0 earthquake. This sequence right here lasted 2 minutes. The tremors started way over here at 5:30, and they continued way over here as well. The secondary wave started right here. It continued for 1 minute to 2 minutes right here. So this earthquake here was probably also larger than a 3.0. And this lasted 2 minutes here. How about this one here? The same kind of story here. Okay? Earthquakes happening here at Marktree, Arkansas. This happens every day. This is not just today, it happens every day. Okay? I can prove it. I have all the seismograms showing it happens every day, and it continues into the afternoon and evening. Let me show you this. This is a seismogram from this afternoon at Marktree, Arkansas. At least a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake here. At least a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake here. This is probably a 3.2, 3.5 earthquake here. Look at this. This is just this afternoon. This is just this afternoon. This happens every day. This happens every day. Now, I want to go over here to Truman, Arkansas. Truman, Arkansas is just barely north of Marktree. Look what's happening here. Yes, we've had plenty of tremors here. This is tremors. This is also tremors. The tremors started over here. Okay, all the way over here. They got larger and larger. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes of tremors. The secondary tremors lasted another 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes later. Okay? Over here, this is I want to say this is 4:43 a.m. right here. 4:42 a.m. right here. The tremors start down over here, and they get larger and larger until we have at least a 2.8, 3.0 earthquake right here that lasts 3 minutes. Then it abruptly dies off over here, just after 4:41 a.m. The secondary part of that seismic wave continues for 1, 2, 3 minutes here. This earthquake over here on the right-hand side, this blue one, is at least a 3.0, maybe a 3.5 earthquake. Here after 5:15, this is about 5:20 right here. Again, this is 2.0, 2.3 earthquake here. The same thing here. These are minor earthquakes here. Tremors all day long. Tremors all day long here at Truman, Arkansas. Let me show you Truman, Arkansas this afternoon. I want to show you what's happening. This is essential so you know what's going on. The entire New Madrid Fault is moving. Okay? I'm sorry. Sorry that moved. Right here. This is about 12, probably about 12:39, 12:40 p.m. this afternoon. Again, this is like a 3.3, 3.5 earthquake here. It didn't last long. It was only a very minor, well, not a minor earthquake. It was a small earthquake here. Okay? Maybe even a 3.0 here. And then the secondary part of the wave here. It continued. Then we had another 3.0, 3.3 earthquake here. Tremors and minor earthquakes hitting all afternoon as well. Truman, Arkansas. There's another place I want to show you though. It's called Taiwan, Arkansas. Okay? Look at this. This is south of this is south of Truman and south of Mark Tree. These are earthquakes. Okay? There's like a 2.8 earthquake here, another 3.0 earthquake here. Folks, this used to be all tremors. This used to be all tremors. Now we're starting to see 3.0 earthquakes. Not quite as long as we're seeing at Mark Tree, but we're still seeing these small earthquakes. How much longer is it going to be before they reach moderate earthquake status? 4.0 to 4.5. Okay, right down here. This is after 11, I would say this is 11:43 a.m. right here. This morning. This is probably a 3-point earthquake right here. Taiwan, Arkansas. This earthquake sequence continued this afternoon as well. This is Taiwan this afternoon. Again, 3.0 earthquake here. This appears to be a 2.3, 2.4 earthquake here. Another 3.0 earthquake here. At least a 3.3, 3.5 earthquake here. 3.4, 3.5 earthquake here. You can see what I'm talking about. This is literally happening all day long. All day long, up and down the entire New Madrid Fault. Now this is just Arkansas. This is just Arkansas I'm talking about. How about East Prairie, Missouri? East Prairie, Missouri is on, or is in the central part of the New Madrid Fault. The center of the New Madrid Fault. Look what's happening here. 3.0 earthquake here, 3.0 earthquake here, probably a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake here, and a bunch of tremors. The seismic energy started after 6 a.m. this morning, right here. It started. Before that, we just had microquakes and another few tremors. That's all. Then those tremors started getting larger after 6:30 this morning. This is East Prairie, Missouri. How about East Prairie, Missouri this afternoon? Wait till you see this. Look what happened there. They had a large earthquake sequence, I believe, that started after 2 p.m. this afternoon. Look at this. This lasted until 2:45 p.m. I believe it even continued over here after 4, I want to say 4:20 not 4:20, 4:12 p.m. this afternoon, 4:12 p.m. right here, and another 3 minutes later. 3.0 earthquake, 3.0 earthquake, 3.0 earthquake this afternoon. 3.0, 3.5 earthquake here. Small earthquakes all afternoon here at East Prairie, Missouri, at the center of the New Madrid Fault. They're happening. They're happening everywhere. Now, I want to show you a couple other places where it's happening. Portageville, Missouri. Look at Portageville, Missouri. This looks exactly like Bombay Beach. It also looks like the north part of the Shasta volcano. Up until last year, we had earthquakes here at the north part of Shasta volcano, the north side of the Shasta volcano. The earthquakes there looked exactly like this, exactly like Bombay Beach does now. Bombay Beach is over in the Imperial Valley of California. This is what's happening on the New Madrid Fault. Notice here that the tops and the bottoms of this earthquake sequence have been cut off. We have at least a 3.0 earthquake here. This may have been as large as a 3.5, maybe larger than that. The same thing with this earthquake sequence here. The top and the bottom of this sequence have been cut off. They don't want to show us exactly what's happening. Over here, this is after 6:13 a.m. this morning right here. 6:13, 6:14, and 6:15 here. This sequence lasted just over 2 minutes. 3.0 earthquakes. And after that, all we had here is small minor tremors and minor earthquakes. This is a minor earthquake, probably 2.8. This is a 2.5, 2.6, a 2.5, 2.6 over here. Maybe a little bit larger. Then tremor activity here. Portageville, Missouri, the center part of the New Madrid Fault. It's happening. Wardell, Missouri. This is the last one in Missouri that I'm going to show you. Look at the earthquakes here. These earthquakes here started at 9 a.m. Before that, all we had here is microquake activity. Right over here, this is 9:15 over here on the left. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the earthquake sequence here started just before 9:21 this morning. 3.0, 3.3 earthquake here, and right here as well. This one here is probably a 3.3, 3.5 earthquake. This is at 9:12 a.m. this morning. Then the 3.0s really kicked into gear after this earthquake here, which is a 3.5 earthquake. Okay? 3.0s all over here. Okay? Wardell, Missouri, the center part of the New Madrid Fault. And Wardell, Missouri continued this afternoon. Look at this. Literally all day long. This place moved. The earth moved under people's feet. It shook people up. It shook people up here in Missouri. This is on the New Madrid Fault, right smack dab on the New Madrid Fault. People felt these earthquakes all day long. Is it going to get larger? Yes, it is. It's going to get more mean as well. Pretty soon we're going to see 5.0 earthquakes, 4.5s and 5.0 earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault. Incredible, huh? Absolutely is. Now, I want to show you some earthquakes on the Eastern Continental Divide. Before I do that, I want to show you earthquakes on the northern part of the New Madrid Fault. Fairfield, Illinois. The northern part of the Pneumatic Fault, all the way up here. The Pneumatic Fault reaches up to the Great Lakes. This is what's happening here in Fairfield, Illinois. Just tremors. These are all tremors. Yes, there are some microquakes here as well, but all these are tremors here. All of them. Literally all of them. All day long here in Fairfield, Illinois. Also in Rosedale, Indiana. Tremors in Rosedale, Indiana on the Pneumatic Fault. Look at this sequence here. After 6 a.m. 6 a.m. About 2 hours of minor tremors. This here, over here, is probably a 2.6, 2.8 minor earthquake. Over here, this is a 2.0 earthquake. Okay? Indiana. Let me show you another one over in Evansville, Indiana today. And this happens every day here in Evansville, Indiana. The seismograph is located here at Evansville, Indiana University. Southern Indiana University. Look at the tremors here, literally all day long. Over here, I believe this is probably a 2.0 earthquake. This is the only 2.0 earthquake here. All the rest of this is all tremors here in Evansville, Indiana. And it continued this afternoon. Okay? Now, let's go over to the Eastern Continental Divide. Okay? I want to show you this. Let's start over here in Accomack, Virginia. This is Virginia. Look at this. These are mostly just tremors. This is mostly just tremors. But look here. Folks, this is yesterday evening after 8 p.m. About 8:03 p.m., they shut off the seismograph. They shut off the seismograph. They kept it shut off till right here. They let it go for about 45 seconds and shut it off again. Then they let it go for another 45 seconds and shut off again. Several minutes later, they turn it back on. Why did they shut it off in the beginning? This is all tremor activity. All of it. All day long here in Virginia. Okay? Why? Again, the Atlantic plate is expanding. The Mid-Atlantic fault is expanding. It's pushing the entire North American continent in a south-southwesterly direction. That's what's happening here. And it's not just here. I tried pulling some seismograms from over in Pennsylvania, but it wouldn't let me show them to you. Pennsylvania is also moving. The entire eastern side of the continent is moving. Okay? I can show you even more here in Virginia. I want to show you Martinsburg, West Virginia. Even west of Virginia is West Virginia. And we're having tremors there as well, and we have had earthquakes here. Look what we're having here. Yes, we're having tremors and minor microquakes here. However, we have right here at least a 2.8 earthquake here. This is a 3.0 earthquake here. This is after, I want to say 3:45, 6, 7, 8, 9, 3:50 a.m. this morning, right here. This is at least a 3.0, 3.3 earthquake right here. This is in West Virginia. West Virginia. This is a 3.0 earthquake here. We're seeing some 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes here, the same thing here, and the same thing here. The rest of this is all tremors, tremor activity. Martinsburg, West Virginia. It's happening. It's happening up and down the entire fault zone. How about North Carolina? I want to show you what's happening where I live. Roll in North Carolina. It doesn't happen just in Virginia, it's happening here in North Carolina as well. Roll in North Carolina is up on the northeast part of Carolina. Look at this, North Carolina. Look at all this activity here. This is 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes here. This sequence here. 2.4, 2.5 earthquake here. Minor earthquakes. Minor earthquakes. Right here. This is after 10 a.m. this morning. These are tremors. These are tremors. What happens over here? It starts off here at 10 a.m., goes over here to 12, 13, 12, 4, or 10, 10, 13, 10, 14. It continues over here at 10, 15. 2.6 earthquakes. Then it comes over here. We have our 3.0 right here. North Carolina. Northeast Carolina right here. A 3.0 earthquake. Okay? Then we have 2.5, 2.6s, maybe a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here. And then tremors. Tremors. Roland, North Carolina. And it continued this afternoon. It continued this afternoon. Now I want to show you one more thing before I leave North Carolina here. This is Taylorsville, North Carolina. This is 45 minutes away from me. 45 minutes north of me. Okay? Look here. Folks, this is a 3.0 earthquake. This is a 3.0 earthquake. This is a 3.0 earthquake. Small earthquakes hitting just north of where I live. Yes, we have had tremors in Morganton. We have had tremors today in Morganton. The water in my water bottles that I keep having here keeps moving. The water in my water bottles keeps moving. That means we're having tremors here. No, we can't feel the tremor activity, but we're having tremors here in Morganton. Taylorsville here is 45 minutes north of me. Taylorsville, North Carolina. How about South Carolina? Yes, how about South Carolina? Blacksburg, South Carolina. This is a volcano. Blacksburg, South Carolina, we're having a volcano here. Look at this. Right here, this is a 2.8 earthquake. Right here, this looks to be about a 2.5 earthquake. This is a 2.0 sequence here. We have a 2.0 sequence here. We have a 2.0 earthquake here. All the rest of these are all tremors. This is Blacksburg, South Carolina. This is a volcano in South Carolina. Okay? It continued all afternoon long. Now I want to go down south to Sumter. Sumter, South Carolina. Sumter, South Carolina is just east of Logan or Logoff and Elgin, South Carolina. Elgin and Logoff is where USGS keeps telling us we have earthquakes. Lately they haven't said a word. But here in Sumter, the seismograph here in Sumter is telling the story. This is a 3.0 earthquake sequence here that lasted about 10 seconds. Before that, we had tremors leading up to that earthquake. We had a 3.0 earthquake here, and afterwards, 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here, continuing all the way out here. A secondary wave right here. 3.0 earthquake here, 3.0 earthquake here. This is a 3.0 earthquake. This sequence here was cut off at the top and the bottom. This may have been a large earthquake. The same thing here. We have at least a 3.0, 3.4 earthquake right here. The same thing here, the same thing here, and down here. This is at least a 3.0 earthquake here. Sumter, South Carolina. This is over on the Continental Divide. This is on the Continental Divide, folks. This is happening. This is happening. And it continues to happen. We didn't see this before. We didn't see this kind of activity even over a year ago. It started the earthquakes started getting larger over a year ago. Before that, they were all tremors. I want to go over into Tennessee now. I want to go over to Ridgely, Tennessee. Ridgely, Tennessee, there is a federal prison. There is a seismograph in the prison. Guess what? We're seeing a bunch of microquakes and small tremors here. 1.0, 1.1 tremors up here at the top. Sometimes it goes down to microquakes. We have a 1.8 tremor there, 1.5 tremors there. We have a tremor sequence all this time here. This is 7:30 over here on the left on the blue line. This tremor sequence started there and it continued over here after 7:45. This tremor sequence lasted almost a full 30 minutes. More and more tremors all morning long. Then down here at 11:45. This is when it got serious. 2.8, 2.9 earthquakes here. This sequence here lasted 3 minutes. A 3-minute seismic sequence. How would you like to be in a building or walking the sidewalk when a 3.0, 3.5 earthquake hit? They're seeing those. Ridgely, Tennessee. This is east of the New Madrid Fault. The eastern side of the New Madrid Fault. Ridgely, Tennessee. How about Tiptonville, Tennessee? I want to show you this. Look at this. Microquakes and minor tremors up here. Then down here, we start getting into big time tremors down here. This is a 1.4, 1.5, 1.3, 1.4 sequence here. Then we drop down here to 7:30 this morning. We move over to about 7:40 this morning. All of a sudden, we have a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake sequence right here. Okay? Tiptonville, Tennessee, on the eastern side of the New Madrid Fault. Seismic activity building in here after 8:15 here. It started over here just before 8:15 here. This is about 8:13, 18, or 8:14 right here. It continued over here at 8:30. 8:30. Look at the tremors all over here. All day long. Let me show you Tiptonville this afternoon. Look at this. Look at all these tremor and earthquake sequences here. This here may have been a 3.0 earthquake sequence here. 3.0, 3.0. Down here, this is definitely a 3.0 earthquake. This is after 4:15, 16, 17, 18, 4:18 to 4:19 right here this afternoon with the 3.0 earthquake here. The eastern side of the New Madrid Fault, ladies and gentlemen. The entire area is moving. We didn't usually see this even a year or so ago. It's happening. It's happening, and nothing can stop it. It's going to continue to happen. It's definitely going to continue to happen. Do any of you have any questions for me? Dan Weir is here in the chat saying, weld some big springs to the bottom beams under your house and put a saddle on top. Oh yeah. Folks, that's a bad idea. The buildings in Los Angeles, the buildings in Salt Lake City, the buildings in San Francisco, the buildings in San Diego, they all now are building these buildings and the malls. They're building the malls and these buildings on springs. Some of the buildings actually have rollers on them. So the buildings will roll side to side like this. They're doing that. They're doing it for a reason. They don't want these buildings to collapse. They're building seismicity into the buildings. Okay? They're doing it. LT7 says, or maybe God Almighty's had enough with America. God Almighty's probably had enough out of the entire world. It's not just America. I've shown you earthquakes all evening long, all over the world. It's happening everywhere. It's happening everywhere. Richard Smith says the Bermuda volcanic system is dangerous to the East Coast. Yes, it could be. If one of those volcanoes in Bermuda lit off, anything could happen. Literally. It could light off and it goes like this, all over the place. It could reach southern Florida or northern Florida. It could reach that entire area, and it could blow east as well over the Atlantic Ocean. It can happen. It can happen. Any other questions here? Kimberly Hopkins says, sorry, she lost her connection. Kimberly Hopkins says, anyone else having buffering, or is it on her end? Kimberly could be happening buffering all over. USGS doesn't like us. And as a result, YouTube is buffering us. Sometimes they even buffer me, and I have an absolutely stellar system here, so I'm able to broadcast. I pay enough money for it. Cowboy Roy Rogers is here in the chat. Thank you for being here, Cowboy. We appreciate it. He said the total solar eclipse crossing Eagle Pass, Jonah, and 7 Ninevehs was the last chance for America to repent. Yahweh isn't done with us yet. Take heed. Folks, it's true. I don't think Jesus Christ is done yet with us yet. In the scriptures, he saved Babylon because there was even one soul left that was worthy. One soul left repenting. He has spared great lots of people throughout the scriptures. A lot of areas were saved because there was even one person left that was worthy. Maybe we'll have worthy people here yet. Okay? Dan Weir says New Matter is the one that made the river run backwards for 7 minutes. 7 minutes. Okay? December 1811 to January, February 1812. Many, many earthquakes. 7.0 they believe it was back then, and it may have been as large as an 8.0, 8.3 now. That's what the scientists are saying. It may have been as large as an 8.0, 8.3 quake. It stopped the Mississippi River from flowing. It backed up water into what they call Reelfoot Lake into Tennessee. It backed up water. In 2011, I was in Arkansas, in Little Rock, at the Arkansas Department of Emergency Management. They called it ADAM, Arkansas Department of Emergency Management. We did the first pneumatic drill, 2011. On the anniversary of the drill, we had a 3.2, a 3.5, and a 3.7 earthquake. Those were on the northern part of the pneumatic fault, upwards up in Oklahoma, up even in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Those earthquakes were felt up there. And we had crews up and down the entire fault zone from the Great Lakes in Illinois and Indiana all the way down to Louisiana. We had crews all up and down the fault. The first day, on Monday, we had those earthquakes, small earthquakes. Now they've gotten larger. They've actually gotten larger. They didn't stay small, they got small. They got smaller, tremors. But this past year, they've gotten larger. 3.0, 3.5, 3.8 earthquakes. At some point, that's going to increase into a 4.0, 4.5, and eventually into a large 5.6 and large earthquake. It's going to happen. And I think it's going to happen in the next 2 years. I honestly believe that the New Madrid Fault, at the rate it's going, is going to pop within the next 2 years. Large and major earthquakes happening on the New Madrid Fault. I spoke when I was there in 2011. I spoke with emergency managers up and down the fault. One emergency manager, and I'm not going to say the town he was in, because he's not just the emergency manager for his town. He's also the chief coroner. He's a coroner. He also owns a funeral parlor. He has 2 semi-truck trailers in his parking lot. He is preparing for another New Madrid Fault earthquake. His town cannot be even evacuated because it butts up against Reelfoot Lake. They at one time were going to build a bridge over Reelfoot Lake to evacuate people from his town. They don't have the money to build that bridge now. They're not going to be able to evacuate that town. He's going to need those reefer trucks for bodies from people being killed from that earthquake. Back in 1811, the place was sparsely populated. All of Missouri, all of Tennessee, all of Arkansas was sparsely populated. We don't know how many people were killed. Yes, there were cabins and horse paths all up and down the fault. Those horse paths were turned into county highways, 2-lane blacktop. And many highways and roadways are 2-lane blacktop, 1 lane in each direction. People are going to be killed. Back in the day when the earthquake hit, they were horse and buggy paths, maybe guiding cows and other livestock up and down those horse and buggy paths. When that earthquake hit, great big huge fissures opened up in the ground. The Mississippi River stopped flowing for 7 minutes. Unreal. I have stories of damage. I have stories of people getting killed and hurt, even back then. People did their genealogy and told stories of what happened. From talking with the emergency managers up and down the fault in 2011, I learned a lot. I made sure in my narrative during that drill that the people in Arkansas, Missouri, in Louisiana, over into Tennessee and Kentucky, Mississippi, all the way up into Illinois. I made sure that the people in those areas, the founding fathers of those towns and cities, have copies of my narrative, because it shows a lot of damage is going to happen. I want people to be prepared. That's why I put together that narrative of what will happen every day during our drill. Because our drill was very reflective of exactly what is going to happen when the earthquake moves again. It's going to happen. Promise. It's already happening now. Earthquakes are hitting now. We need to prepare. My buddy Don Patoka is a very dear friend of mine in Utah. Hope is not a strategy. However, the foundation for action. Prepare for what surely must be and is to come. Ask for divine guidance, that still small voice, in order to succeed and thrive. That is our hope. That is our hope, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you that. Listen to this still small voice. Get prepared. Now, I want to tell you about another scripture. A guy named I'm not going to say his last name. I'm going to say his first name. His first name is William. He and I have been corresponding for the last week or so. We talked about the Lord's love for us. Over in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32. It's one of my favorite scriptures. Okay? And be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you. We have to ask ourselves, how much did Christ love us? How much did Christ love us? He told us, love one another, even as he loves us. And he not only told us to love one another, he also told us to help and provide comfort to the fatherless, the needy. He wants us to share light and love and come closer together. I love how Christ asks us to show love to one another. He wants us to share light and love and come closer together. How have you seen Christ's love in your life through others? How have you seen Christ's love in your life through other people? Think about that. Think about that. Love one another as I have loved you. I told William that I love the scriptures. I love the apostles. I love the prophets. I love the gospel of Jesus Christ. For the gospel of Jesus Christ is the power of God unto salvation for everyone that believeth, to the Jew first and also to the Greek. Romans 1:16. The gospel of Jesus Christ is for life eternal, which gift is the greatest of all gifts of God. May God bless us. May God bless us that we may put on the full armor of God, that we will protect ourselves and our families and those that we care about. Let us show through putting on the full armor of God how much we love the others around us, our family and our friends, and those that we truly care about. Brothers and sisters, this channel, and Don Patoka just put this up. He puts it up every day. This channel is about information awareness, necessary for the continuity and continued existence of humanity. Be precise, you and yours. We talk about earthquakes. We talk about tornadoes. We talk about winter storms. We talk about rain. We talk about floods. We talk about fires and hurricanes. Why? So we can be prepared and be better servants in the Lord's kingdom and learn to love one another. May God bless us. Everyone here who's in the chat and everyone else that might be listening or viewing this program, please subscribe to this channel. Please subscribe to this channel. We need you here. You need us. We're going to give you as much information as you can possibly handle so you can become prepared. You and your families will survive what's happening and what's going to happen. Please do that. Subscribe to our channel. I've also recently, as of last week, also made it available to you that you can also join our channel and have a membership in Emergency Management Associates. Please do that as well. I've kept the cost down. I believe the lowest cost is $1.99, then $2.99, and $3.99. I've kept it low so people can afford to be with us. I appreciate all of your super chats and how you support our channel. I appreciate everyone who sends donations to us, either in PayPal or Cash App or over through the mail. May God bless you. May God bless you to do that. God bless you that you may continue to love your families and truly begin to prepare for what's going to happen. It's not going to be pretty. Have situational awareness. It's not going to be pretty. May God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. Thank you all for being here. I love each and every one of you. We will see you on the other side. Good night, everyone. See you soon. Bye-bye.